Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Jose here, welcoming you again to another episode of Amazing Worlds, where today I am going to be going through my top 5 comic strips, because yes, as well as reading regular comics and fantasy books and all sorts of literature, I do quite enjoy collecting and reading comic strips. So I'm going to go through my top 5 in chronological order, because I think it will be difficult for me to really give an objective opinion as to which ones rank higher than others. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. In first place, chronological order, we've got Peanuts by Charles Schulz, which was published between 1950 and 2000. Here, I've got my hardback collection of the Peanuts books. The collection is not full. I think I still have got 8 volumes missing, but I am hoping that between this year and next year I will complete the set. They are a little bit pricey, but I mean, who has not heard about Peanuts, right? All the characters: Charlie, Linus, Snoopy, Schroeder, Lucy, Peppermint Patty, the whole cast of characters. And I have to admit, I am not fully in love with Peanuts. I think, to have written the strip on a daily basis plus the weekend specials for 50 years or near on 50 years, it's truly amazing, and it's a testament to the skill, the ability, the insight, the genius of Schulz. But I think you find gems every so often. Yes, they're entertaining. Yes, they're cool. And obviously, as you get to dive into the world and get familiar with the world, you catch more little things and you relate to the characters a little bit more. But in order to find a real gem, you read through a few sort of okay strips. So, but anyway, as I said, the importance of Peanuts, the legacy of it, the millions that Schulz made from all the merchandising and everything means that it has to be in my top 5, and I actually do enjoy it. Next, maybe not a lot of people will know about this, but it is the Mafalda comic strip. It's an Argentinian strip that ran from 1964 to 1973, so for 9 years in Argentina, translated into many languages and published all over the world, which I've got here in this little boxy thing, which are all the 11 volumes collected. So you could buy. So it contains. They're strangely numbered from 0 to 10, so the 11 volumes, and here, and you've got the artwork there. Now I think Mafalda is a step up, and obviously owes a lot to Peanuts. So the premise behind it is this little girl, Mafalda, who lives with her parents and younger brother in Argentina, and her group of friends. So very much like Peanuts, we follow a group of kids. However, in Mafalda, the social commentary is much more in your face, and the different personalities of the different kids are much more defined. So you've got Mafalda, is very sort of socially conscious. She's very aware of her stay-at-home mom and her working dad and the dynamics of the family living like that. They are sort of this sort of lower middle class family. They buy the first car. Obviously, taking into account the time when the strip was being published in the 60s and sort of Argentina, the post-war time and all the industrialization and everything is all reflected in the strip. You've got other characters. You've got Manolito, who is the son of Spanish immigrants, who is just driven by money. His parents run a supermarket, and he just dreams about owning a chain of supermarkets and expanding and everything. You've got Felipe, who is the dreamer kid, always forgetting his homework because he's always dreaming about being cowboy fighting, cowboys, Indians, that sort of thing. You got Susanita, who is Mafalda's frenemy thing, who just dreams about being a mom and being a wife, and is all into gossiping and all these sort of things. So it's a much more, like I said, it's a much more social strip than Peanuts. The characters are much more clearly defined, and to me, it's a superior strip in terms of the quality, and it's just not there to simply entertain, but also to reflect the society of the time and the worries of the time through the eyes of a very intelligent and perceptive little girl. Unlike Peanuts, the adults do show up in the strip and they play a role, and I would really recommend people have a look around and take a look. My number 3, or my next favorite comic strip, is Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson. There was a documentary about Bill Watterson and Calvin and Hobbes in Netflix a few years ago. It's probably gone now, but it may be worth digging around because it was really interesting and a very good insight into the strip, which ran for 10 years from 1985 to 1995, including the Sundays as well as the dailies. It follows the adventures of a little boy, Calvin, and his toy tiger, Hobbes, who actually comes to life, but only for Calvin whenever anyone else is around. Hobbes remains a stuffed tiger, and it's the adventures they live, and Calvin being this naughty kid that gets up to no good, and Hobbes tries to be the voice of reason behind him, and it's a much more kind of philosophical strip. I mean, Calvin and Hobbes are actually named after philosophers, and the amazing thing about Calvin and Hobbes is that actually Watson was solely interested in writing the characters and his thoughts on what he wanted to convey. He was not interested in making money. There was never any monetization beyond what he got paid for publishing the strips. There was no plush toys made, no cartoon adaptations, no merchandising, nothing at all. And let me show you, I've got here, oh my god, the complete Calvin and Hobbes comic strips in these incredible 3 volumes, which are, as you can see, not very practical at all to read, but they are absolutely beautifully edited and printed in proper size. There you go. And if I remember correctly, the Sunday specials came in color, which is not something that you get with Peanuts in the way they have been collected there. I bought this massive chunker of a collection. I think it was half price or less at Amazon. I think it was a birthday present to myself, or I bought it when I left one of the jobs that I've had, and people give you voucher, like a goodbye present. They're happy to get rid of you, and this is what I bought with it. Not exactly something you can carry in your backpack and read on the train on the way to work or anything like that, but I did work my way through it and I thoroughly enjoyed this. It looks awesome on the shelf, not very practical. The next comic strip that I really enjoy is lbert, which started from 1989, and it's ongoing. It keeps going. I've got the collected trade paperbacks here on this shelf, written by Scott Adams. That's it. So these are the paperback editions. lbert, I'm sure everyone is aware, is set in the world of big corporations, and follows a group of engineers trying to work through the incompetence of their bosses. But the whole series is also adorned with a touch of the surreal, as Dilbert, our titular main character, lives at home with his evil dog, who is intent on conquering the world, becoming supreme ruler, Dogbert. And he also lives with Ratbert, who is a rat that he adopted once, and a couple of dinosaurs. And it's all a bit weird because the people in accounting are trolls, they're not people. And it's just a big criticism of the corporate world, which Scott Adams was part of for a time in his life. And me actually having worked in a big corporation on one of these big open floor offices, it is so relatable. Anyone that has ever worked in that kind of environment can relate to Dilbert. And again, it's one of those things that if I just tell you like that, doesn't make a lot of sense, as I said, because of this real elements. But again, once you get to know the characters and accept the world for what it is, and you get the recurring jokes, it is very enjoyable and very, very funny. Finally, the last the last comic strip that I am difficult to collect, but let me get on with it. Cyanide and Happiness, which started as an online strip in 2005, still ongoing, curiously, by 4 guys that lived in separate corners of the world and didn't get to actually meet in person until they were 2 years into the project. So, Cyanide and Happiness has got very minimal artwork. It's all a stickman. And depending on who was drawing them that day or that week, they look a little bit different. There's no defined characters, they're just random stickmen. The humor is in the gutter, is absolutely toilet humor, no holds barred, nothing is off limits. It is gross, it is crass, it is totally politically incorrect, just how I like my humor. I think nothing is off bounds, and certainly Cyanide and Happiness do not pull back any punches. As I said, it's a web or online strip, but you can get some sort of hardback and paperback collector strips, and here, in color, and you can see the kind of artwork that we're dealing with. But it is absolutely hilarious. It really is, if you're willing to not get offended, because there's a lot of material here to easily be offended by if you are that way inclined, which I'm not. So anyway, this is all I had for today. It's a sort of slight mini tour of my comic collection, but only part of it. I do have some other comic strips, so I've got Garfield there at the back, but I don't really rate Garfield that much, and maybe I need to wonder what I've got 22 volumes of collector's strips. But there you go, there's a few others, but for me, these are the main ones. And if you know of any other amazing comic strips I should check out, please, as usual, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Is this something that you're into? Is this something that you're not? Am I the only one here collecting comic strips? I'd love to hear from everyone. Take loads and lots of care, as usual, and I'll see you next time. Bye!